Hello, friends. Welcome to the show. Good to see you all. We're going to be taking a look at Bitcoin and we'll be taking a look at some of our favorite altcoin friends here in today's show. Bitcoin, has it been going to the moon? Do we deserve to have this screen up? Captain Kirk, tell us, Kirky, have you noticed Bitcoin along your travels? Captain's log, star date 31st of March 2021. We saw Bitcoin out the rear view window as we were flying past the moon. Is that actually what happened, or is there something more to be found out? Let's take a look at that in the charts and our favorite altcoins and suggestions from the crowd and see if we can have a nice, fun, enjoyable show today and full of all the education that you could shake a stick at. Let's roll those intros. It's good to have everybody here, by the way. Thank you so much for joining me. We have the likes of Peter, Hure, and Dudeman in the audience right now. So thank you so much. If everybody that can drop a like on this video really helps, really helps with the algorithm finding where to send folk who are looking to get the best crypto technical analysis. And that's right here, ladies and gents. So really, really pleased to have you all here with me taking a look at the charts right now. What is that, by the way? What is that you've got up, Rocky? That's the 5-minute Bitcoin chart. That's just a bit of fun. I was having a look at it and seeing how it's kind of narrow, the old Bollinger Bands here. And as the prices have stayed in the top side over the period of that 5-minute shuffle along towards the top, but then they just kind of broke below it for the first time since all the way back at midday. So maybe there's a little bit of downside here. I don't know. I've not done the TA yet. Let's actually just jump up towards the 24-hour time frame and take a look at the old Bitcoin chart. So like I say, ladies and gents, by the way, what we do on the show here is we really try and help people become independent, self-reliant traders. And doing that is well alongside actually the best technical analysis that you could find. So if you're just finding yourself here for the first time, then be sure to hit that subscribe button and come back for more of this, because you don't get better than this. The drop down the mine shaft was an exciting buying opportunity, says Peter Hure there in the chitter chatter, and it was an exciting buying opportunity. Nice to see you, Winter Fresh. I hope you're doing very, very well, even though we're in springtime, looking at summertime coming up in the near future. I hope you're still feeling winter fresh. 24-hour time frame here. Volume diminishing is one of the things that we notice here, and of course we've not managed to take out our significant previous high in there at the $62,000 area. We have had highs up there at $59,817, so we need to build $59,816.17 according to this chart. So what we want to try and do here is build up a little bit of a story about where the prices could be going, and as well taking a look at the news. So that's the headline of today's video. If you are just joining me, wonder what that could be about. Well, is PayPal going to send Bitcoin to the moon or not? That's what we're going to be framing all of our conversation around so far. So we've had a quick brief look at the charts already. Notice that while things have moved towards the top side, that we've not taken out the massive structural area of our previous all-time highs, and we notice that there's not a massive upshoot in the volume down below there, as sorts of news articles like this come out into the world telling us that PayPal is accepting crypto payments now. And actually what we can see here is an image somebody's taken, I think, from their PayPal, showing us that you could pay with Ethereum or Bitcoin, etc. And that's interesting. It's interesting to see that they're doing that. And of course, what you expect under these sorts of circumstances is the mega bullishness to arrive into the markets, like like people talk about all the time with regards to crypto. But have we seen enough of that recently? That's a question for us to try and answer. Tesla said that they start accepting Bitcoin payments, and after that, the price of Bitcoin dropped 20%. So how much does this news really matter or not? That's the question as well. Well, I'll leave that for you to answer. We'll read through this news article just briefly, and then we'll go back and take a look at the technicals anyway, because that's what we're all about on the channel here. But let's see, what did PayPal actually do? Payments processing giant PayPal announced Tuesday it will let users check out with crypto offering options such as Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ethereum, or Bitcoin Cash. Users who have enough cryptocurrency to cover a potential purchase on a website that accepts PayPal checkout will see it pop up as a payment option. Once the customer confirms the purchase at checkout, the cryptocurrency is then converted to fiat currency or government issued money by PayPal to complete the transaction. PayPal also won't charge a transaction fee. Now, I wonder about that little snippet just there. PayPal won't charge a transaction fee. Maybe in the same way that regular Coinbase doesn't charge a transaction fee. It just charges you a massively different amount for your Bitcoin. So commission free, but your Bitcoin is going to cost an extra, I don't know, whatever it is, a few percent anyway on Coinbase, for example. Wonder if it'll work like that, like whenever you're getting your commission-free foreign exchange money down at your local coin bureau. So I wonder. So PayPal won't charge a transaction fee. Enabling cryptocurrencies to make purchases at businesses around the world is next chapter in driving the ubiquity. That means everywhereness and mass acceptance of digital currencies, said PayPal CEO and President Dan Schulman in a statement. PayPal is the latest company to support cryptocurrency as a form of payment as businesses increasingly lend credibility. Not really sure what they're getting at in that sentence. Let's take it in the most positive light, that that they're lending credibility to the idea of taking Bitcoin as payment as opposed to lending their credibility towards Bitcoin itself. Last week, Tesla announced it would accept Bitcoin as a form of payment from customers. Tesla CEO Elon Musk said these payments would be retained as Bitcoin and not converted to fiat currency. So that's a bit more of an interesting statement there. And operating from a different angle, PayPal is going to allow you to deposit your cryptocurrency and then sell it, and presumably it's some sort of supply side issues come into play there, whereas the Tesla one, it's more like it's going to kind of hoard that money. Interesting or not, I wonder. And you also got to wonder as well if they're using their own assets to create futures positions, perhaps to hedge against the incoming receipts from selling their vehicles. That would be sensible and the common and typical approach in business. So you've got to imagine that they might be thinking along those sorts of lines. Therefore, that's us done with the news. There are other news articles that we could take a look at. LBRY been having a bit of an issue with SEC of late. Really doesn't like the whole idea that all cryptos could be considered securities. And America's a bit funny on this, isn't it? So LBRY, and if you're watching this video on Odyssey or LBRY or one of those other platforms, then you might be interested in taking a look at that news. But it's just the ongoing rumblings in their market. Engine raises 18.9 million to launch NFT blockchain on Polkadot. So that's an interesting bit of news there as well. And then we have a couple of other bits of news from around the world that you may or may not be interested in, such as some Indian telling you why it's the best time to buy Theta. What's St. Kitts and Nevis? Some St. Kitts and Nevisian telling you all about how Goldman Sachs are going to offer full spectrum of Bitcoin investments. And then you've got a jolly good British person telling you that crypto firm Luno appoints a new CEO. Jolly good spiffing. And then, of course, you've got huge achievement for Cardano adds charity-focused stake pools surpass 500 million worth of ADA from Russia, etc., etc. So you can go check out all that in your own time. Let's take a look at the charts. Thanks very much for joining me. If you are just here fresh, then hit that like button. It's good to see you, Zoner, in the chatter there. Good to see you, Dude Man. Good to see you, K King and Peter and all the rest of you that are out there. Drop me a like. Help YouTube find this video great again or something like that. Great. So we're still looking up towards that high target. Where we've come so far is, gosh, why did I think I was on a completely clean chart there for a second? Silly me. Where we've come so far is just shy of the 786 in terms of closing our bodies. Now we have, of course, wicked up past that range. We've obviously moved past the 618 golden pocket, come back down and retested into that area today in this indecision candle, having found this 236 operating as support and the baseline of the Bollinger Band. So all of the things that we've been looking at really kind of coming together there in today's price action alone, resulting in this doji candle, of course. So it's great for you, whatever way you're trading this at the minute. However, of course, got to keep our eyes out for the bullish aspect of this and perhaps coming up towards that 62,000 area. And then, of course, that would be a good area for managing risk at if we were to break beyond there, because you could be looking up another 10% towards 66,000 or so for the next turnaround area, perhaps, for the next pullback. You could even be looking up towards 69,420 or so on that one, like we've been looking at recently ourselves. And we're waiting to see this kind of come into fruition. Obviously, this channel aspect that I described before is now no longer required on the charts. Looking down the way, I can leave these liquidity zones on here. I still think that that's, of course, relevant, especially if we were to see any more consolidation in terms of staying within this new range of the highs up there at 62k and the lows at sort of 51,000 or so, 50,000 if you like. And if we stay within that, then of course, then we're further consolidation. If of course we actually do challenge this area again, then maybe we're actually trending in a way. So things to look out for on that front as well. That's all the 24-hour time frame analysis. We've come up towards these highs, and so far everything's just kind of going along as expected. Now the good move that we talked about the other day was the move to have at the time. Is there now another move on for us? Well, seeing that the RSI is in this wedge format, I would look out, like of course you could do fantastically well. Just bear in mind that we're seeing this sort of consolidation effect as we've seen in the prices as well. The wedge overall, still the wedge potential on for us in that rising wedge idea. So that's to be borne in mind. And we are also looking at this ADX, seeing that while it has had a positive cross, of course, the ADX is below 25 here. It's actually at 17. So we're not in a position where we can say, okay, so we're trending towards the top side currently strongly, as we might have wanted to have done back earlier on in the month, for instance, when we're at our previous highs over there at 62k. So that's what we're looking at. Is there anything else that I want to bring into perspective here? Maybe just we've talked about the move between these zones that we've been in, and we spoke about this the other day as well. We can see that if we do go up towards the top end of the Bollinger Bands, 24-hour time frame, extensions beyond that without getting some sort of pullback or less than or 5% or less likelihood of us actually pushing on beyond this area and not at least coming back down to then retest it thereafter. So be aware of that in your trading. The next target as well towards the top side does bring us into that 69,420 area. If you're looking for that, that's going to be considered your greedy target currently. Okay. And 4-hour time frame, we're seeing that we do have this the ADX coming up, but it's not actually managed to move above 30. Neither has the DM positive. Now that's okay. I want to see the DM positive actually kind of go up there above the ADX really and start pushing on up the way and dragging the prices up overall as well. So we're all right in that sense. In the same way that we can look at this here in the stochastics and say, well, we're okay. We have done this turnaround we spoke about on Monday. We have done that and come down towards this area, but it's higher than our previous low. Bit of a potential sort of pennant type structure here. We could go on up the way and challenge really extreme highs if we cross over here, etc. Of course, if we were to then just pull back from this region, then that would be totally understandable given the structure that we're looking at. So we're still we're that's the current sort of situation that we're facing. I can't live a normal life. I've been raised by the Bitcoin. Shout out to Coolio. So we know that there was this, of course, this diminishing strength of downward momentum as we came down towards these lows over here. Lovely to see that bullish divergence then therefore playing out with a move towards the top side. Of course, the top side move coming straight in again with its own sort of dose of the same divergence that were, there between these highs. But of course, while I was looking at that on the lower term time frame, the same structure applies overall here, that we have never broken down below the 20 period moving average, and that's just something to kind of bear in mind, I suppose, in the next wee while for us. Hiding off the Bollinger Bands, bringing on the moving averages so we can see that same story playing out to greater effect. We're in positive golden cross conditions with regards to the 200 and the 50 simple period moving average. We've got a nice upward movement spanning out of all of the moving averages, all going towards the top side. So all of that looks very, very good. Of course, we're just at this key structural point, and of course, breaking past that does lead up that next chunk of a move. Now, that's a decent enough move to be had, by the way, just looking from even higher than we are currently up towards that highs takes you 4%. So there's opportunity here to be had. For instance, just very recently, you could have got in at those tests of those areas on the 18 period moving moving average on the 4-hour time frame. We talk about these sorts of things all the time, and that would have given you 7%. And in fact, if you'd have gone off of this kind of retest of that moving average, you'd be looking up to 8% if we do actually achieve those highs. And that is a fairly big ask at the minute. Okay, then we know that, but that's the way the trend has been going today and over the last few days for us as it stands right now. So that's cool. I look blurry. Well, I've had a bit of an issue with getting my camera set up a little bit. It's been a wee bit frustrating for me. That's why I was 5 minutes delayed. So if I'm a bit blurry, but that's okay. I'm here. At least I'm here. I'm here. I'm alive. It's all good. So that was the Bitcoin technical analysis, right? Anybody wanting to get any questions on that? I'll just give everybody a couple of minutes to ask any questions. Do it in interactive style, okay? This is interactive at the minute. If you are just joining me for a live show, then what this section right here is an opportunity for you to talk to me about everything that we've just discussed before moving on to the next area. Keep everybody feeling on board with things. This is a live show after all, so you can get your questions in if there is anything at all. So long as the chart box is fine, that's okay. Fading in and out of the blur zone. I wonder what that's all about. I guess maybe some sort of autofocus issue or something like that. I'm not sure. My aspect ratio, everything was way off at the start of this, and I was turning everything off and on again, doing the old technical, the old tech help style autoresponder to myself. Have I tried turning it off and on again? Well, I tried that a couple of times, and then I decided to go with what I had. It was pretty good at that point. Cool. So no questions coming in from anybody. That's good to see. Let's trundle on then with the show. Ethereum having come out of this region, what did it do? Only what we spoke about it doing, coming back down for a retest. Now, did it actually get the full way down here, pixel perfect? No, it didn't. I'll be the first person to tell you that anybody who talks about getting things pixel perfect is a bit of a fibber. And we spoke about this recently enough. So we pulled back down here, tested this. It's the same moving average test as well as what Bitcoin got in that dive down that we did earlier on. Now we find the prices moving back up the way at 1850 again, back in that key area, bringing us back into the same sort of technical position that we were in the other day after having flown outside of this zone, acknowledging that the potential for this being a sort of fake out territory and the potential for a retest, fantastic, giving everybody the opportunity to trade this, as it was there for a real easy layout for that trade. Okay, came down here, and what did we see having happened? Well, look at the 50 simple period moving average, saved by the bell, ding, 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 and sliding on up the way here, almost in parallel with that 200 at that moment. That's really, really interesting to have seen played out that way. 2-hour time frame, you can see that this has coincided with us getting, well, not coincided so much, but we've also then followed through with a nice golden cross here, which has then been tested. So lovely jubbly. And on the 12-hour time frame, okay, cool. So we're just testing this moving, this 9-period moving average. Excellent stuff. 236 getting tested as well. All of that is fine to have seen. The result overall is this doji candle. Yeah, a little bit like of that lack of momentum because we're not seeing follow through pushing the prices on up the way, but we're certainly seeing that the price has been bought back up from that level so far. This does show you that, of course, this was the first cut. Maybe this will be the deepest, but of course as well, the seal is somewhat broken in the sense that if we were to come back down to this area again, there's a degree of existing liquidity or in this zone, or actually, in a sense as well, a number of the buyers have been absorbed in that section potentially. We're just not seeing the huge volume increase at the minute, and that's what we're still waiting for. Oscillator wise, then of course it makes a degree of sense that we're not getting that strength, as we can see the ADX turning from red to that white hot color there, telling us that of course there's danger lurking here in the 24-hour time frame. 12-hour time frame, you get the Rick and Morty lips here on the DMI. This is something which is just showing you that they're moving in parallel to each other. They haven't actually crossed. There was the opportunity for a cross, but it was in some senses rejected, as we can see here. And that's just a description really of what we've been talking about already. Sometimes get people asking me for sort of more details on what I mean when I see this, but you can see it with the price action. We talk about this every time it's happening. There's this type of layout going on up above. RSI having made it past this downward sloping trend line area, but has it done it with enough to convince us that it's properly done it? I'm going to have to err on the side of caution with that and say no, not yet, not really, not quite. Obviously, so we still have our target source, the top side, excellent stuff to have them and to hold and to cherish, etc., etc. And the sort of hidden bearish divergence of this region played out with regards to the head and shoulders, the beautiful head and shoulders that we're seeing on the MACD itself here, having then played out here with the price action to the textbook type values perfectly there, coming in an exact area of confluence. So everything's worked out perfectly with regards to TA on this one recently, and we've kind of covered everything for us. So we know that the sort of this hidden bearish divergence which existed between these 2 points resulted in the fruition of this pattern that was shown on here, with this movement down the way, coming in at the key support area, moving up within the range, breaking outside of this, but coming in for a retest. And it's the same RSI point has to be made with regards to how I've positioned this end piece of this in here. Has it truly been broken or not yet? Well, that's what we're waiting to see with that retest concept. Now, I'm happy enough to call it a retest. I don't particularly mind either or. I do have this chart on logarithmic, by the way, which doesn't make a huge difference actually to drawing this in, but I thought I'd point that out. So we could still be looking at that if we do then see, and I think this is worth pointing out at this stage to folk, if we do see is breaking down below this area at 1750, then we're just moving on down the way. Now, I've shown me changing that slope there, okay? I've shown me changing that slope there, and that is important. Because later on when I come round again here, because I'm going to make clips for the folk back home, as we like to call it, for everybody that's not tuned into the live. I'm going to make some clips for them, and they'll not see me kind of go through that process just there. So that's something that's a value for having tuned into the live show. You get to understand the construction behind this when we come back round again, and all I really do is talk about how we're in the range of this triangle, that if we break down below this 1750 area, then the next target is going to be 1560, so there's $200 to be had there. If we break up above this target here of 1860 ish area with volume, then we're looking up towards 20,060 ish, so there's $200 to be had there, and talking about those two aspects. And that's all we'll be saying in the Ethereum videos. Just that'll be what they get. So you've got a heck of a lot more by tuning into the live one. Again, opportunity to ask questions anytime you like there on that one. And just dipping into those to the chat, I can see there is a question coming in from Zoner, who says BTC EUR, that's BTC, that's Bitcoin versus EUR, that's Euro. Bitcoin Euro is close to breaking all-time high. Is that irrelevant? I don't do TA on pairs apart from the dollar, but was just wondering. Well, it's an interesting question, and it's a super interesting one. Just jumping back over towards the Bitcoin chart, you can see here versus the dollar that when you say are we close to doing it, just percentage wise away. If I take it from where the wick is on this candle here up to the highs, you can see that's within under 4%. Let's bring up the Bitcoin Euro chart here and see that it's much less than 4%. So it really is close to it. Is that relevant? It's an interesting one. Let's put it into context by bringing up it versus the yen, right? Bitcoin versus the yen as a degree of context for you. Because at times in the past, this has been a more heavily traded pair than the Bitcoin dollar pairing. Okay, at times it has in the past. Just want to point this out. And in terms of volume, etc., there's been times as well where we've seen things work slightly differently in terms of the highs and lows, slightly differently on this chart too. And this is a real big player. So if you're going to be looking at any of them, then Bitcoin Euro, Bitcoin yen, JPY, and Bitcoin dollar would be the three, I suppose, to look across. However, it's not necessarily particularly relevant. Because what you're actually looking at there is just a euro dollar, it's just a euro dollar statement that you're making, right? Bringing up the euro dollar chart, you can see that this is a 12-hour time frame. Big drops down the way here as we see that to buy a euro with the dollar, then you now have to spend $1.17 as opposed to having to spend, say, for instance, 118 or 122 or 123 in the recent past. So we're seeing a drop down in the price here. Since that high to that low, it's dropped an additional 2.2%. And you can then say, well, there is this weakness that's expressed here in the euro dollar pair, and maybe perhaps seeing a play out from this wedge that I had drawn on the charts in the past. Pop that on logarithmic just for myself because I generally like just going to keep it on that for now. So yeah, so then there's this death cross as well here. We've not retested that quite yet. The next area could be a pull back up to that area. If we do see a pullback like that, then what you're going to see is a retrace to an extent back down in terms of, or at least a closure of that difference in that gap between the euro dollar and between the Bitcoin euro pairing and the Bitcoin dollar pairing, bringing their chart look a little bit back into parity. Now, just to be clear, very little trading then has to happen in terms of the euro Bitcoin pairing or the USD Bitcoin pairing in order to change the look of those charts. It's not like you need to buy through massive amounts of volume, because this sort of dynamic that exists here is really a dynamic that exists because of you're buying your Bitcoin in dollar or you're buying your Bitcoin in euro, and the price of the euro has, of course, suffered versus the dollar. And that's what you're actually pointing out. Like, is that interesting? Yes, it's interesting. There's more relevancy in terms of what's happening on the euro dollar chart to explain that from a technical analysis point of view than there is with regards to the Bitcoin euro dollar. And then looking for feedback coming, through the markets that way isn't necessarily the best way to do things. Now, that would be my opinion. So, and in the past as well, when we've just to combine that with the overall thought, in the past as well, when we've seen Japanese yen having more trading volume happen on it, for instance, then it's still not actually leading the price action. We're actually looking towards this one with like the type of aspect you might take if you were looking at oil, for instance, where Bitcoin essentially is priced in dollars for the most part. Maybe that makes a bit more sense if you think about it in terms of the supply side of things, that the Chinese are selling their Bitcoin in dollars when they mine it, as opposed to selling it in euros or as an example. Groovy. So we can move on from that now. That's it, Peter. You just said the same thing I did in about 5 words. It did it, 300 euros higher. Well done to the euro dollar pairing. But we've got that covered. Hi Phil, good to have you here. Nice to see you just tuned in. Drop a like if you've just tuned in. The same goes to everybody else. So we've already looked at so far in the episode, if you are just joining us like Phil there, what we've looked at so far is Bitcoin and Ethereum. We've just talked about a couple of key aspects on the charts and laid it all out. But I'll be going back through and doing a summary just at the end as I go through and make 4 videos, perhaps, for the folk back home, the ones that aren't tuned into this live show. And I just kind of go through the charts, give a quick summary, perhaps. Okay, Zoner says, thanks for the explanation. You're welcome, buddy. I hope that helps a bit. Of course, as well, that's your opinions on it are totally valid. If you think it's going to do something and you want to try and take a trade off the back of that, etc., more than welcome to do so. I invite you to be self-reliant, independent, make these decisions yourself, and then consistent in your approach. If that's a trade that you want to take and you think to yourself, oh, it's a one-off type trade that I'll take there, then maybe there's less justification for taking it, in the sense that it's harder to sort of repeat that in the future. So, if it wins, great. If it loses, you don't actually get any value back out of that, and then it kind of pushes it a little bit more into that gambling territory, perhaps, than trading, if you want to look at it that way. Chainlink here we have, friends, and what we can see here is there's this descending triangle operating along, just as we have obviously identified recently as well. What do I mean by that? Well, key areas to look to, this 236 that we have not successfully managed to take out. As you can see, the highs, $28.07 or 10 cents. It was a little bit higher yesterday, where we actually came all the way up towards that target, but didn't actually take it out, touching the 50 simple period moving average as well there. And then we dropped on the 12-hour time frame. That's essentially the 100 period moving average, simple moving average on the daily, for instance. And then that's not the case. That's the 25 on the daily. Just got the maths the wrong way around there. But it goes to show I listen to myself when I'm speaking. At least I try to, so that I don't say things that are wrong and just move on. At least I try and audit what I'm saying. So yeah, this descending triangle, the 236 never breached as we had hoped to see happen, but we're fully aware of the possibility of it not happening. Then what we're seeing here is this testing coming in at this line of 27.5. That's, I think, fairly obvious to me that this is a key area for us. Zooming right in so you can see here in a little bit more detail what's so obvious about this orangey rusty colored line is that this is where we found resistance at in the past several times, moved up, found support at it just there, moved down the way today, and we're asking then therefore will we actually manage to broker a peace with this line and move back into that territory, or will this war continue, or will we just admit that we've lost and kind of then succumb to downward movement? Now, if we do succumb to downward movement, what we're looking to here is the once, twice, three times a lady is perhaps the area to be looking for in at that $24 to $25, with extension going all the way down towards the low 20s, and in fact $23.50 not being out of bounds in terms of where we could be trading at without actually really managing to really breach this overall shape. Heaven forbid that this actually does play out properly, because what that means is that it comes all the way down towards the $14, converting your link into band token in one big movement. Although that's just be kidding, it wouldn't actually do that for anybody, not financial advisor, not financial advice. Jokes can happen from time to time as well. And if we do want to go up towards the top side, then we've got a few key targets to bear in mind, $37 being one of them. And of course, this actually does extend well beyond that point up towards $39. So if you were to come out there, if you were to come out even earlier on and you're looking up towards 40, that wasn't on the cards as it actually turned out really in the end. And that's your analysis with this one. Volumes diminishing as well, all taken into, going in with the aspect of this triangle nicely. And we can see that they suffered at the RSI suffered at this point here where we were trying to take that out. We just taken out the moving average, etc., back down again. Essentially everything that we spoke about on Monday has come to pass exactly across all of the coins that we've looked at. It's been prophetic in terms of the analysis. What we have seen remain in place throughout this period of negativity is that stochastics has managed to stay as it is just now in that bullish stance, and that's as a function of the fact that we've been operating within the range of these candles over the last few days. Okay, so you can see that we never took out that high, never took out that low. Overall we're within that range so far, and we've not turned things around. So that's good to see. But of course I'd expect this to have some sort of cross should we come down towards that area. So which is where you kind of then think to yourself, well, actually we're looking to see this turn around without even coming and breaching this 20 area. So if we see something like, I suppose I'll just draw on here for example, that there, then that would be ideal overall if we were to look towards trying to continue this on the way, and we're still waiting to see how the play out happens of this. And we know what can happen in these instances. It could be retests, etc. There could be fake out zones. These are the things we talk about on the show all the time. If you've got any questions about that at the minute, etc., then chuck it in there in the chat and we'll come round to looking at it. That's your story with regards to this one. Other instances of interesting things are, I mean, like, look at that, for instance. You could easily say, well, let's just do it the other way around. Oh, look, looks like there's some bullish divergence here on the MACD. Oh, look, there's bullish divergence on the MACD. I wonder what the top side of this is looking like. Oh, it's looking like it's a bit shallower. Oh, that's interesting. I wonder what this could lead out to if it did get a full move off the back of that. That's actually not even, ridiculously generous, really, overall. Well, it comes in for a lower high overall, testing this 236, perhaps moving from 46 up 50%, all the way up as high as sort of 68. Perhaps overall, but and then testing off the 200 simple period moving average, and there you'd have your 24-hour Bitcoin technical analysis for the link pairing on there. This is what we're seeing at the minute. This is the potential for it. The diminishing volume, looking for the volume to start to increase as it goes around. A tick here in the stochastics towards the top side would be nice. The volatility is showing us that at the very least I'm expecting the prices to revisit the 48 area, giving us a sort of 5% 30% move, but whether or not we get that sort of extension all the way up and get a 50% move, it would be quite likely. Can we actually do that and not retrace down the way and test this area again? That would be good to see happening. That would be good to see happening overall there with that one. Let's see RSI, how's that looking? Yep, of course, bullish divergence being rejected time and time again from the rocky outcrop unique to this channel. Positioning of the RSI bearish control zone, which is not what you'll see on any other channel or textbook out there. Of course, all I did was adjust it by 5, but it does make a difference. And of course, if you want to get access to these indicators, you can do so at gumroad.com/rocky-outcrop. And that's what we're seeing here with Link Bitcoin 1. So there you go, there's a bonus. Let's just check in with our friends. I'll bring up the Bitcoin chart here and stick it down on a really low term time frame so that all of the folk who just kind of skip in and out of the show can have something to look at for a couple of minutes here as I take a look at a questions that's come in. So it's nice to see it, that people are talking. This is another opportunity to get some questions in, and I'll take a look at them and then fly back around again, perhaps. So yeah, Phil, I have a question. Let's say BTC USD gets a new high, because we never know the future. How do we trade something when it reaches a new high? Do we wait for a pullback? Peter Huer then, great, good stuff. Good to see the answers coming in here from the community. Actually answers this question by saying, Phil, wait for the swing pattern failure, sell or short. Long again at a lower price. Simple explanation, just make sure that you get 60% of every move up or down, and then you're fine. Whoa, a lot there, a lot in that, Peter, is including the 60% reference as well. Lot to chew on there for people. Now you might be reading that as a fairly new person to market, thinking you hardly said anything, and that's okay, because you can because there is a good answer. And then as well, if you're looking at that and you've been trading for quite a while, you might think that there's so much more to talk about, and indeed there is. Hey Peter, how do you read a swing pattern failure, for instance? And it sounds simple, but I find that I get in too early or too late. Peter here responds with, you will never guess the perfect top or bottom. I also get in late a lot of the time, but at least in the direction is right. SFP is a long conversation. There are various ways to look at it. Maybe a conversation for Discord. Great. Okay, cool. We could do that in the Discord. If you like to join there. Are you a patron? That's the place to have that chat for sure. Is with the premium guys, because we could go into that an awful lot, and that's something I've talked about on the channel extensively as well over time. There's a few different ways of doing it. Swing failure patterns, you're going to notice in terms of the RSI, for instance. What we're looking at here, 30-second Bitcoin chart. Let's see if this is going to trade towards the top side. Let's hope and see that we've got a bit of bearish divergence between those two highs just there, for example. Okay, cool. We do here on the MACD. Let's double check that with the RSI. Yep, we've got some on the RSI. So at this point here, you're looking to see if the RSI takes out its previous low. That bearish divergence just there. There's its previous low. We actually took that out just in this area over here. Then you're looking for the next area to maybe try and get in at for your trade, for your trend. Looking between that high and that low, that looks to be coming in around about the 50% area. So if this was a bigger time frame, this is how you'd be doing the same thing. But let's just look at that sort of idea. Oh, golden pocket, beautiful. So there you go, straight from the textbook area. You'd have shorted that. You're taking your short down the way. Your target, for example, then could be just where your previous low was, because you're looking to take 60% of any potential move. You're happy to get in knowing the direction and that things are set up for you correctly, and that's you playing the swing failure here of this bearish divergence. So for example, okay, so that's just a quick fire example. There's 1,000 different ways of looking at this type of thing, but that's one fairly beautiful rapid fire quick example for you, just to bring you the context of the current moment right now here in the world. Wow, excellent stuff. Lightning strike, Rocky. Well, overall, actually though, I should have said that you would have taken profit, I guess, on that already, because of that 60% move. You can see that we're moving up the way here at the moment. 30-second chart, forgive me, it takes more than 30 seconds to look at something, and I had to speak fairly quickly. Cheers, Peter, for that. Yeah, okay, so that's part of the answer. There's a whole lot more to it. absolutely. So that's cool. That's fun. Right. Excellent. Moving on the way then. Ladies and gents, thanks so much for joining me, by the way, everybody. And if you want to hit the like and subscribe button, well, I'll tell you what, I'm not going to tell you not to. Hitting the like button really does help with people find this video. If you're watching it after the fact, then after the live thing, then dropping a like on here really, again, does help a lot. Let's see, how long have I been streaming for so far? 39 minutes. I want to get this thing finished within the hour if possible. Okay, so I've done Chainlink. Let's take a look at Tezos, and we'll try and bring, is there anything out there? What's the meme coin of the moment? What's going to get me the most views on YouTube? Let me know that one, so I could make a quick fire episode about that at the minute as well. See if there's something to be spoken about on that front, because I wouldn't mind, a bit of the old increase. I'd like to get to the end of I would have wanted to have got to 3,000 subscribers by the end of March. Clearly, it hasn't happened. I actually wanted to get to in the first week, then the second week it was the same. Anytime I put a number on there, it doesn't really work out. I think perhaps Engine Coin, what with it having that news about Polkadot we spoke about earlier on, and it having had a lot of movement recently, might be all right. Might take a look at NIM, EOS, BTC, Solo, something like that. I don't know. Oh, boom, there we go. So you would have we did move down the way here. You can see the prices operating like that. That's the you can see what's going on there, right? It has happened. It's just that obviously there was that flux along the way. Now if the prices would now it would be the right time to come in and give it a bit more TA. I'm going to have to move on quickly. I wanted to give this episode, I actually wanted to have this episode finished more or less by this stage. So there you go. There you go, Folky Joes. Where we have it, all and Tezos. What are we looking at here? Not the 30-second chart. Lordy, lordy. What do we want to say about this thing? I'm going to have to, construct this. I want to construct this fairly quickly. You can visually here, you can see there's a couple of things. Just straight away, you can see, just as an example, let me just get rid of that. As an example, you can see there's that while this is moving towards the top side, sometimes you want to ask yourself, like, how are the prices going? What's the dynamic between the demand, if you want to express it with an upward sloping diagonal line, and the supply, if you want to express that with another diagonal line. And you can see that, well, that these things are obviously converging together, and there, you can see that wedge. But it's just the thinking about this from the point of view of how we've extended outside of this previous zone where that pitchfork was on. I can't remember if I drew that in logarithmic or linear. It looks almost like it was linear with the way that we broke past these key levels at that point, but stick it back on log and just hide the thing for now. There we go. So still, is this chart a bit noisy for folk to look at? It might be. It's all good. Right, Tezos, by the way, simple stuff. We had covered it all perfectly again. 470, the targets being 10% apart, etc., down to 430. It's all being complete. All of you already know. Now, if you are just joining me right now, and ciao for now, Peter. Thanks for joining me. If you are just joining me right now here and you've never seen this show before, let me know if I'm brushing past something a bit quickly. I speak to the audience that we have here, obviously, because we're familiar with what we do here on a daily basis. If you're not familiar with it, then just chuck in a couple of questions. No shame, no harm in asking, etc. I'll get back around to trying to keep you on board with us. But we have already discussed all of this to death because we've had the microscope on the Tezos price action for over a year now, and we're really familiar with the way that this thing moves. And the fact is that we've come down towards this area and found our feet in so far right at the next key area that we spoke about. And where does that line up with? Well, that high over there from the past. And it's just all right here in this zone. Can we push on up the way and try for something a bit better? Looking down here at the 4-hour time frame and saying with things like, well, do we have something suggesting from the DMI perspective, for instance, that's possible right now? For as an example, is that something that's really, this is screaming at us? Well, not particularly. 4-hour time frame, seeing the negative cross, this little touch of the whole Rick and Morty lips again. The parallel movement here. You can see that this is coming in at a time when we've just had that type of inflection there in the market. That's all that's really saying to you at any given time. But as we're seeing it drop down below 25, we don't have that strength of trend really right here, right now. But could we get it and move up the way? Yeah, it's right within reaching point. But we're seeing that that we've not reached out and grabbed it. All we need to see with this crossing up the way, then perhaps we could have. It could have. It instead though it pulled back down the way from its high. Bang on where that line was. So like I say, we've kind of got it all covered at the minute. If we push up the way, then what it requires is obviously something which isn't right there staring us in the face saying it's definitely going to happen from that point of view. Going along well enough, right? Okay, so it's all just about managing your risk as ever, right? As ever on that one. So I'll just have to crack on then. It's good to see no more questions have come in so far from anybody. Only got 8 concurrent viewers. That's really awful. Can you imagine? It's nice to see that there's 9 likes, but awful. Makes me wonder why I'm doing this at all. Anyway, that's right. I massively appreciate every single last one of you for tuning in. Don't doubt that for a second. It's great to have you here. So that was nice to have tea time with Rocky. No tea, that's fine. Have coffee anyway. So it's a bit, funny. Right. So okay, well, let's just do the episodes then. Clearly, that's where the value is today. Nice to be trying out my new microphone. Not heard any comments about it so far, or seen any comments about it so far in the chitter chatter, so I don't know if it's sounding good at your end, but it should be sounding as good as it can sound. I don't think there's going to be anything better out there in terms of how good this sounds. So let me know if I'm not achieving 100% top quality audio, because that's what I went for. That's what I went for. Thanks to everybody, the patrons, especially for supporting the channel. It was with the Patreon membership donations that I actually decided to improve the quality of the channels. This is that support in effect. Really do appreciate it. Let's just do the summaries real quick. I'll roll the intros and everything when I'm doing these. There's only 8 folk here, so I'm sure you can hear me when if I say cheerio at the end of this for any reason during any of these snippets. I'm not actually going anywhere. I'm just making the clips for the folk back home, if you like. Going to make myself big as well for this chitter chatter. And we need a story. Any who's watching along, I've got a story that you want me to actually apply to the charting right now, then cool, let's go for it. You can tell me what you're thinking. Right. Let's do Eternity Chain. What the hell is that? Give me a ticker for that, if you don't mind, Phil. Right, so let's just do this. You all know how it goes anyway. I don't doubt for a second that the 8 people watching along have seen me doing this gambit a whole bunch of times. So let's just do it. This is your summary section as well for Bitcoin if you're looking for it. Folk, don't, oh, I might not come back to this again. Who knows? I just need to get my intro clip lined up. Oh, and I'll use the stack thing. Hi friends, hi Kirk. Bitcoin has been roaring towards the top side. What does that look like? Well, it looks like a V on the charts. We're seeing that since the highs over there on the 20th of March, down to the lows on 25th of March, up to the highs here on the 31st of March, over the last 11 days, we've got a big V. Is that V going to stand for victory? Well, only time will tell. Let us take a look at the charts together. Let's try and answer that question. We're on a journey here with Bitcoin. It's going towards the top side so far. Are there going to be any pullbacks along the way we need to be aware of? There might be. A like and a subscribe goes a long way to helping this video do well on YouTube. Thanks so much for joining me. Welcome back. This is during a live stream, by the way. Join me for a live stream sometime. Now, what we're looking at here is Bitcoin overall in terms of the broad perspective. We can see in the 24-hour time frame that the prices are, of course, within a wedge, this green upward line, that green upward line, showing us that towards the top side. Now, zooming back on in the way again and bringing the prices up a bit bigger so we can see there is this V shape overall here. Very, very good to see. Now, I'm not a man to talk about fractals myself, to be honest with you, but we can see similar thing having happened in the past over here between the 25th of February down to the 28th of February, up again to the 3rd of March. And what we see then at this point was another retrace thereafter, coming back down and retesting the 50 simple period moving average there in the 4-hour time frame. Could that be where the prices go next? Could we be seeing 55,650 get tested in the next day or two, with a view to then actually continuing on up the way and breaking past these zones? Very well could be. What I'm looking at here at that 56,000 area, of course, is the one retracement point off of previous Fibonacci's we've got drawn on the charts there. I know that the charts are noisy enough as they stand, but I'm actually just going to draw in another Fibonacci to show you exactly, we've come up towards the 786 here so far. That's exceptional. We've pulled back down towards the 618. So there's two areas to look to at the minute in terms of where we could go within the overall range at the minute, which is expressed between the highs up here at 62 grand and the lows most recently down there at 50 grand, is if we push past 59,200 on a decent 4-hour closing basis, open and close above that, the next target is going to be 62 up the way. But actually, at the minute, we're really going to have to keep a lookout for this liquidity area that's going to be expressed in it around about that golden pocket of 57 grand. Movements down the way towards 55 thereafter are absolutely conceivable, where we find the 50 simple period moving average. I would most likely prefer to not visit the lower half of this range again, because that puts us into contention of breaking outside of that wedge again on the bigger time frame. The overall targets towards the top side are still all absolutely in place. We've got three of them: 62,500 or 62,500, 67,000 and 70,000 if you want to look for three upper side targets. Now, we'll come back and talk about this again in the next wee while. That's your positive case scenario for you. There's a couple of things to be aware of course. This little touch of bearish divergence we've had over the last couple of highs, well, that's followed on from that bullish divergence that we had just beforehand. Maybe there is, a decent case to be made for us saying that that pullback area towards the 50 simple could happen with just continuing on with the overall prior trend beforehand, at least expressing the range of the movement within the overall green wedge that takes you up to 69,420. We've got a bit of a wedge on the go with the RSI. It's not particularly visible just there, but it's here in the 24-hour time frame. You can see that we are kind of waiting for some sort of consolidation to happen. In terms of the DMI, well, we're still within chop territory here on the 24-hour time frame. What we need to see happen is this positive strength of trend in the 4-hour really continue moving past the 30 point on that one. Okay, we don't need to get too technical. I've kind of laid out the answers for you already. Dropping a like and a subscribe really does help with this video. I hope that you get something out of it that's of value to you. Drop into the Discord and you can always follow up with more questions. I do have a premium Patreon membership where I'll actually help educate you. We can see the volume here is a little bit kind of haphazardous all over the place. That's expressing the range that we're in at the minute, which is of course an upward sloping consolidation pattern. My name's been Rocky Outcrop. Smash to MF Black. That's Bitcoin done. Let's move on the way. I did say that we talk about something fairly similar or fairly simple in the Ethereum video just here, by the way, ladies and focal gentlemen. So we've got to remove this. In fact, let me just get up this thing. Got to remove all the brush lines from my explanations here so that so that the next class to join us in the lecture theatre here doesn't feel like they've got a dirty blackboard to look at. Okay, cool. So hi friends, taking a look at Ethereum. It's in that triangle pattern there. Is if I could speak. Hello friends, taking a look at Ethereum here. It's in this triangle pattern. Is that going to express itself with going up and down within the range of that, or could we see a breakout fairly soon? There's a few things that led to us being here, a head and shoulders at the previous top that came in with a bit of hidden why do I even care? If I don't even care about the quality of the snippet, then I'll not probably make any mistakes. But as soon as I start listening to myself too closely. Hi friends, Ethereum inside this, all right, point that direction. Hi friends, Ethereum inside this triangle over here. Is it going to express the range moving between its highs up here in and around about the $1,850 area back down towards the 1550 area, or is it going to break out? Those are the two ways that this could go over the next wee while. Let's identify some key symptoms to look out for positive breakouts towards the top side. Where is your target going to be up there? Well, it's $200 up above it at about $2,000. If we're going to see some more consolidation in the grander picture here within this triangle, then what are we going to be looking for? Well, let's discover that and more in just a second. Thanks so much for joining me. Likes and subscribes go a hell of a long way. I really do appreciate comments and shares as well. I respond to every one of them. See you in the charts. And here we are. We're actually doing a live stream right now, by the way. Whoops. We're actually doing a live stream, by the way. Hiya, Crypto Planet. Good to have you here. Just filming the Ethereum snippet for the folk back home. Join me for a live stream someday. Okay, so this is the range that we're looking at really overall, expressed by this consolidation pattern. We're looking to see if we get a volume following through with any breakouts up above this area for a movement up perhaps towards $2,000. If we actually want to go for the full measured move, as the sirens go by outside, I wonder if you hear them back at home. If we do go for the full measured move, it's actually taking us up towards $2,500. That's the real area to look to at the 1618 Fibonacci retracement point, but we're waiting for the consolidation. There could well be fake outs and false signals in the meantime. Now, if we do break down the way, and God forbid it, what we'd be looking down to is, of course, $900 all the way down for the full retrace since where we drew in our sort of 2021 upward trend Fibonacci into. So that's the area to look to. That actually comes in at around about $930. Why is it so much more towards the downside visually than towards the top side? That's because I got it on the logarithmic chart. There's it on linear, so you can see the same thing is what we were just talking about there. Now, that's the main question to be looking out for. A couple of things to be aware of. You know that the consolidation is visible very much on the oscillators down below. We have made it up above the moving average here on the RSI, but we're seeing that in the terms of the 24-hour time frame, very much still got that consolidation affair on the go for us. Now, there's various things we've talked about recently, such as the triangle being positioned ever so slightly and whether we're coming in for a retest. In terms of how you're going to be thinking about that just now, the way I've drawn out here is the most simple use case for you. The key areas to be looking to in terms of the downside right now is in here at 1760. That's your risk management zone. We've seen that this has been tested numerous times in the past. Very, 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 very distinct area for us. If we push down past that, we're also taking it to 236. Chance of us coming down towards 1617, absolutely possible. They would not want to see zone. They would not want to see us breaking zone very distinctly, obviously, in here at 1540. Anything in between is possible. The 4-hour time frame shows us that there's this beautiful parallel upward smooth move between the 50 red dotted line there and the 200 simple period white dotted line here, where we could have come in for a death cross. Didn't happen. Doesn't mean that we won't see these averages being retested in the near future. But with any sort of degree of volume and a nice movement outside the way, what we're seeing is that any potential to describe this as being bearish divergence amongst these two highs here completely goes away, with us just burning on past the zone if we can actually do that with a movement up towards 2000. Is that on the cards for us to happen? Yes, it is, but you know, is it perhaps more likely to see a movement down towards this zone currently? Yeah, probably. Overall, this is your range and we'll see it being broken. There'll be all the symptoms there for us to be able to trade them quite nicely. Be sure to drop into the Discord if you want to learn more about that. There's premium options available for people, all that good stuff. Right, cool, excellent. Smashed to black. Nice to see you, Crypto Planet. Just filming those clips, you know. So just filming those clips at the minute. So rolling through, giving summaries at the minute. I've just done Bitcoin and just done Ethereum. They're now going to be doing the Chainlink and Tezos ones. Then I'm going to take a look at a couple of sort of YOLO coins for folk out there in the world because I want to get more views on YouTube. Right, cool, and get the channel to grow. No shame in that. No shame in telling people that that's it. Will they be necessarily any good or not? Who knows? But we'll be looking at them. Think. So right, cool. Hi friends, let's take a look at Tezos. As you can see on the chart just here, we actually came in and retested the previous area of the triangle, which is obviously something to be very keenly aware of, and the 50 simple period moving average here on the 4-hour time frame. Beautiful test in both of those, coming into the 423 area. 420s if you want to stay high with Tezos, of course, and then moving on up the way. Where's next though? What are we looking at with regards to Tezos? What could we discover? Well, let's just take a look at that in the next couple of minutes. By the way, folk, as I run these intros, if you hit like and subscribe, just doing it just now, wow, amazing, helps the channel massively. Back here in the big picture of me, let me just show you, this is during a live stream. Be sure to join me during a live stream sometime for a wee bitty, and we're taking a look at Tezos just the now. And yeah, so we've broken outside of this zone. Have we done enough as yet, you know, with this retest? Perhaps we have, and therefore our upward side targets remain in place. First one to be looking to 457, the next one up the way afterwards is $5.08, but I'm sure there's something to be said about this zone just in here at 470. Well, in fact, there actually is. As we knew recently in the past, we had already drawn this out as being a key zone to be aware of. That's in at the golden pocket area of the retrace from the highs that we had over there on the 14th of February. Love you, all the way down to the lows that we had on the 23rd of February. Bored of you. And then, of course, overall the price action itself has been in this kind of wedge since, and this is waiting to be broken. Do we have the momentum, therefore, then in this zone that we're looking at? This is what it comes down to when we're talking about the different patterns. A quick reminder then, there is the other pattern on the other screen we had up a second ago, had that downward sloping line. So have we got enough here with that potential retest to really be breaking this pattern here that we're seeing? I appreciate that that's confusing, that I've gone across a couple of different charts. They're both Tezos dollar charts, and they're both worked out across many hundreds of days of doing episodes here with Tezos. So if you want more detail on it, be sure to drop by for a live stream and ask, or just come into the Discord. And I've got premium memberships available with Patreon where I can help a little bit more hands-on. So what we are looking at is that 470 target, big deal, golden pocket area, like I say. Have we got the momentum? Well, the volume's not with us right now. Overall sloping towards the top side, so that's decent to see. We've got the sort of the bearish divergence between our previous two highs in here. Looking back the way, yeah, it's just, you know, right across the board there, that bearish divergence. Looking at these here, right, yeah, no, the RSI is looking better in terms of that divergence. Great, excellent. RSI's got the potential to take us there within this chunk of the price action. So it's on, you know, what we really need to see happening is 450 getting respected, nice 4-hour closes above that zone, you know, really showing us that the 9 period, that yellow line, and the 18 period exponential moving averages are not going to cross. That would be nice. We have retested this 50 simple period, that the red dotted line following on from the cross where it crossed over that white dotted line, which is the 200 simple, and this pullback constitutes the retracement down that we spoke about in terms of testing this area. Yeah, I think that we were trying to audit this ourselves and saying, would we come back down to this zone? Yes, the DMI magic, the magic of the DMI working out yet again perfectly, I think, on that front. So everything's going along according to schedule perfectly. The Rick and Morty lips, as I like to call them, the parallel movement on the DMI just here showing us the hesitancy to get across. Would have been more positive to have seen that happen, therefore, at this area just here and continue up the way. We've had to retrace slightly, bit of MACD divergence, not so much on the RSI, decent enough retrace. Do we have the potential to go on? Yes, we certainly do. If we see a pullback down the way, then I'm actually kind of looking at this stage down towards $4.06. That's your current best buy price. If you're actually waiting for this to play out one way or the other, there is a reason to stay hesitant here, having not perhaps taken profit at the previous profit taking zone, which was of course up there at the 470s. Now the best sort of medium risk zone was to get in at 420. So if you've done that and you're seeing the movement towards the top side, then jolly good, and I'm pleased for you. You can see as well in terms of Fibonacci retracements, we've come back down and satisfied the 50% Fibonacci retracement with this move, so we have done enough, so it's all on for us. I would just be managing my risk, you know, and managing your risk is easily done with the 432 line, for example, and the 475 line up above, and the overall acknowledgement that movements down the way could take us back into our previous pattern that we were looking at, and of course movements on up the way could take us outside of the zone, and maybe we see a retest thereafter on that one. If you're looking for the real sort of summary of that confused picture, perhaps what you want to look to see playing out is the 4-hour stochastics. Do we get a nice cross and movement back up the way there, or do we of course see this unable to fulfill that and move down the way? That sort of thing might be the best quick near short-term analog for you if you're seeing this episode slightly later in the day. Smash the hit the like button, hit the like button, helps so much. Smash the black. Okay, so I've done something here. I've hidden one of my oscillators by accident. So let me just sort this out zoom wise. And did I skip link? I'd meant to do link, but I skipped it, I guess. Link's just dead simple, by the way, Phil. Or was it Crypto Planet? Yeah, cool. Hi friends, Chainlink in this descending triangle. Where are the key areas to be looking for? Will we see a breakout soon? Is it possible? All that and more just now. Please hit the like and subscribe button. Massively helps the channel. I would really love to see you during a live stream as well sometime. So be sure to join me for that. Okay, cut that. Who's got time for intros anyway? Looking down there, you can see that's where the live chat's going on, because this is, of course, a live stream. But I'm just doing a quick summary video for the folk back home, everybody not tuned into the live, to see that link is got a few key areas that are really, really crucial for us. 2880, let's call it, where the 236 Fibonacci is. Want to see the prices pushing up above that. Confluence in this area with the downward sloping line of the descending triangle, and that is of course as well confluence with a previous 618 Fibonacci golden pocket retracement, 50%. You know, there's tons of reasons. This is a really big number. 2880 moving up past that opens the door immediately towards another 10% move towards the top side. Very, very nice. Fake out territory from any moves outside of this ascending triangle though, or descending triangle, do come in at that zone. Be aware of 3150 is its importance. Now that's the two upward side areas. Of course, if we do go on for them, I want to see them happen with volume. I want to see things like the stochastics able to turn around here and bust past the neutral line without doing this idea that we've got in mind that could happen. And we also as well want to see that this is able to get some sort of strength of trend here with a green cross in the purple line as we see the ADX moving into 25 zone. Is that possible to happen? It all is possible. Does it look like it's definitely determined to happen? Not necessarily. If we take into account the sort of hidden bearish divergence, class B, I suppose, yes, but it's there, I guess, in terms of this potential for a downward movement, that we could see some further downward escapades happening. Now, that's all contingent on us actually managing to bust past a certain zone with a degree of momentum. And I'm going to say that that zone is 26.90 or $26 really. That range of that dollar is important for us on this 4-hour time frame where we're seeing the 50 simple moving average coming in at. We've got this rusty colored line in here, super important, so much interaction with this in the past at 2750. If we can take that out, then very, very good. And I would say that we could easily come on and try in for another 10% move up just to within the range here. Now bear in mind that while that looks like it's not very much space, it totally is. 6% move would get you towards the top end of that. Towards the downside here, 10% move, plenty of trading to be had here. And that's what we're looking for, to try and capture some of those of a chunk of those moves, as opposed to necessarily the whole thing, waiting for a bit of that confirmation to come in here. Not getting confirmation coming in terms of volume. We are doing okay in terms of this upward movement. You know, we are doing okay. This chunk here is, you know, not divergent in and of itself, which is nice to see on the RSI. It is, of course, on the stochastics, and it is, of course, on the MACD, giving us that impression that, you know, we could well be seeing $25 again in the next day or so. But if that happens and we find support, then jolly good. If it actually busts on down past it, which we certainly do not want to see, then things get scary. Link price turns into the band price quite quickly, going down towards $13-14 with the full overall measured move. Two key areas towards the downside to be aware of really is going to be $19 and $21 if we do push out past it. $21 the key fake out zone for us in terms of any moves here. There's two key fake out zones if we do push down. That goes down to 23.50 and 21.50. Those are the two key areas where you really hope for a turnaround to falsify this pattern. Otherwise, I'd expect the prices to go down and visit $15. And I know that sounds very disheartening, but the thing is that that we're actually looking for this to try and break towards the top side, hoping to get in at $40, happy to take profit at 37 along the way where our previous high was, maybe even 36.90 or something like that, if that's the case. Bear in mind that we will be, of course, checking in with all these conditions along the way. Join me in the Discord, because that's where you can chat to me most. And if you want to, then you can join me for a live stream, drop in questions, and I'll answer them in an interactive session. But the best way, of course, is the premium Patreon membership, where, of course, I'm feel more obliged to kind of answer and help, you know, but I feel that way anyway. So be sure to take part in the community. We're a good group of lads. Nice one. Excellent. And ladies, smash to black. Right, so what were those shit coins I was going to do real quick? Oh, just checking with the questions. Phil says, Rocky, a question with Tezos USD. See how it breaks out the line and it retests. What is the strategy to get in on a long? Do you wait and go long when it breaks that previous peak? Yeah, okay, that'd be one way of doing it. Thanks, Willis. Check that out. You've always been first class. Check that out. Thanks so much, buddy. Massively appreciate it. A couple of ways of doing it. One of them is just to, you know, I mean, be consistent, so don't flip-flop, and then of course you can assess your own sort of approach to that strategy yourself. So that's your key with every question, by the way. That's going to be a key part of the answer, the scientific method, if you will. But then, yeah, the retest of it, you can simply put your order in right where you expect it to be. Like, I think it's going to retest here, and when it does, it's going to just reject and go away straight away. Then perhaps you can, of course, move your stop into profit, an area which might benefit you risk-wise. For instance, here we have an ascending triangle, right? So this is the unspoken story from Tezos. You know, what we talked about in Tezos was the two other things, right? Because I just wanted to do, I try and do it differently. He's so freaking, the amount of work that I put in terms of, you know, my brain power going towards trying to keep people kind of educated and entertained and all that at the same time, so much. So what I decided to do was talk about the relationship between this triangle here and this wedge, right? I constructed that partly in the run up to it as well, and that was all as opposed to having to talk about the retest of this ascending triangle here. And you can see that there's this sort of zone where we were looking at. It's not the line, it's the zone itself in this zone, and we of course retested that zone and then some, all the way down to the 50 simple period moving average on the 4-hour time frame here. Various different ways that you'd be looking to get in at this. And in terms of like answering your question, yes, it's wiser to wait for us to come back up above this area before trying to take a long off of it, you know, because then you've got like a recovery in part in play. You're buying into something which has already started, and that's important here with regards to this, you know. So taking out 450 like we're doing right now gives you opportunity to have it easier to manage risk long, because, you know, you're looking down the way and saying that for this zone here you don't want to suffer through, because it's a whole suffer zone which could lead to worse. So you can manage your risk very easily. For example, if that's how you wanted, if you wanted to trade this pattern's retest, then movements past that zone right now make it so that you could then trade up towards that sort of 490 area. Then again, if you're testing this pattern's retest, then you might have wanted to get in on it with this movement up the way and saying, I'm happy to take profit at 455. So you see the way that it all kind of, it all depends on your perspective and how you get in, and then where you want to manage your risk at. That's 6.85%, that move just there. If you're taking up towards your previous highs, then you're looking at 6.5% there. So it's the same thing that you're doing. So, you know, when there is an answer to this, I've just answered it to a large extent, and I could go on, you know, but I'm going to cut that somewhat shorter there with regards to that. But you can see that there's a few common threads in the answers that I give you. You know, consistency, learning to trust yourself, not needing to trade the whole thing, your ability to manage your risk, you know, looking clearly at zones where you manage your risk, whether that's towards the top side, downside, whatever, how you would then manage your taking profits, all implicit together in the package, right? This isn't some throwaway chit chat. Like that is the answer. And why that doesn't then just boil down to saying, well, it's you do X, Y, and Z, is because there isn't an X, Y, and Z. If there was an X, Y, and Z, then we'd all just be doing X, Y, and Z, and that would be that. It's a lie, you know. It's a lie. All of that type of thing's a lie. A guy that runs a hedge fund just had his biggest ever personal wealth loss of any human being ever the other day. There, $30 billion lost himself in personal wealth gone. The other day. So this is somebody who's extremely smart, has got extremely good working strategy, and do you think he wouldn't have just been doing that again and again? Well, perhaps he would have, and then went wrong one time. Is he going to tell you it was the right or the wrong thing? I don't know. I'm not here to split hairs about it. All I can tell you is that people who try and give you definitives about things are talking shit. Moving on, then, what I wanted to find, where were those shit coins I wanted to take a look at? What was one of them? Engine's not so much, it's not so terribly shit, but let's bring it up. Let's not care too much about doing the most amazing technical analysis on this ones. We don't really need to. You all know the channel anyway. It's like I deliver professional technical analysis on a first glance of a chart anyway. Don't want to sound arrogant, but that's, what, when you've been at it for a long time, it doesn't take you a very long time to come up with a professional level technical analysis. If if you're like myself or Eric Crown or whatever, that is, and not you're serious about things. So I can just kind of do this really quickly, and lay it all out the way. Oh, I think, yeah, this one here, definitely. Perfect. Perfect. Hi friends, Engine Coin coming in for a double top. Could it potentially retrace back down the way again thereafter? Or have we just been in a really bullish trend with a nice natural retrace, which is bound to happen at some point or another, and we're looking to just bust on up higher? Where are our higher targets? What are the key areas to look to? There's a story here. It's not super complex. I'm going to lead you through it over the period of the next couple of minutes. Really happy to have you here. Thanks so much for joining me. My name is Rocky.outcrop. A like and a subscribe goes a long way. Really do. Join me for a live stream someday. Really do appreciate it. And just as I run the intros here, I can tell you that I am actually making this during a live stream. By the way, as you can see down below, there's the live chat. So join me for one of them. This is Engine Coin. And what we're looking at here is this overall upward trend, very, very strong. Golden cross that happened on the 24-hour time frame happened all the way back there on 21st of January. Ultimately, if we do look for a big pullback, I'm going to want to see the prices turn around here at this point, just in at around about that 150. Now, that's, of course, crazy prices away from where we are right now, over $1.20 towards the downside if we did move down the way, but that would be at the worst, at the worst. Otherwise, the trend is gone. That's just your broad term perspective viewpoint, but we've got a much more interesting sort of series of things to talk about just here. Bringing the drawings back onto the screen. This is stuff that I prepared, put a great deal of effort into preparing this before we went live, just for everybody at home. As you can see here, we drew in from the lows over there on the 23rd of February up towards the highs. We've our all-time highs here, the 15th of March, and we can see that the price action, while it did drop down a significant amount, didn't take out the 236 over here, and this Fibonacci retracement in this zone, this whole Fibonacci retracement right now, as it stands, is invalid. Fantastic. So we know a key area to look to and say that if things go down below that, then that's when things are going to start to get a bit too sticky for us right now. And I'm going to draw that in. I'm going to declare it as being 180. Okay, that's the area to look out for. If we crack that, then it's not great. Now that's towards that side of things. Now we actually have had this pullback and been measuring against the high, since the high in there, like I said here on the 15th of March, down towards the low that we've just experienced there on the 23rd of March. How well have we done? And we have come in here and hit the golden pocket. Okay, so it's so the question at this point is, if you're looking for that double top scenario, you might not get it because we've had the significant retrace point here up towards the 618. Okay, breaking this down even further and just saying that it's at this point that we can get to sort of make our short-term decision target for ourselves. Okay, so looking at this here and saying that let's just extend these lines here. I'll change the settings on this thing real quick so you can see. I'll change it so it's all sort of yellow, and I'll extend the lines over to the left and dive down the way towards the 4-hour time frame and show you the key areas then to be really staying above. And as you can see, the wick does a really good job of describing that exact area for us, and that's 240, where we find the 236 here on this Fibonacci retracement. So staying above 240 for the day, and for the next couple of days, really important. The 4-hour time frame showing us this beautifully for us right now. That's the 18 exponential period moving average as well coming in there. So staying above 247, very, very good, and we can actually aim to look higher than that for us, which is what we're going to want to do right here, right now, and bring in these upper side targets. Because if we do push past this zone, well, the first one to look to, of course, is where the 786 is coming in there at $2.81. That's my first top side target, and that takes us into trying out, where our previous area of inflection was on the market, and that's key for us. That's going to be really, really super important with regards to being able to push past to go on for these subsequent targets. But these are the ones that I'm really curious about right now. If we do get a full 100% retrace back up and get that double top, where could we be looking to? Well, there's a couple of key things I'd like to point out. Starting off with our upper side targets, $3.50, $3.70, $4. That's where we're looking to here with this one. It is absolutely possible to see that happen, and that would be with a blast off move past that zone. So there's a couple of things though in the meantime that I would like to kind of say are really key for us to respect, and that's the potential for other patterns coming in here. You could see a potential XABCD Gartley pattern showing us that there could be a reversal. Let me just get the tool for it. Where is the tool for it? Gosh, there it is there. Looking between that low, that high, seeing that we came in there for not quite the 618, but a plus 50%. And could we be going up here and potentially getting a turnaround? Well, if we don't make it past the 786, then maybe you're looking at that Gartley type idea. If we come in for a double top here, then it breaks the Gartley. A failed pattern is as good as a good one. Could be looking up the way. But then there's one last final note then that I would make with regards to this, and it just simply says that if we do come in for a double top and then retrace back down the way, this 50% area in there at 250 that we've already spoken about as being important becomes important yet again, because that would be the area you'd be looking to if there was a cup with handle on this one. Okay, so option is that it could go up for a double top, could come back down for a cup with handle, could go up for a Gartley pattern, and then go on for the bearishness after that. It could fail it, move on up the way, and go on for any of these three targets in there. $4, $3.70, $3.52. Overall bullish movement, very, very good. Nice, lovely to see. This is of course the result of the movement towards the top side since getting in here at the 197 area. Taking profits is happening for a lot of people at 260. If we see the pullbacks coming in here and us not taking out 240, then very, very good. If we do take out 240, then the key area for us to look to will be the golden pocket area of the retrace, which will line up with this 236 coming in here at $2.18. I just want to save your eyes from having to draw that in again. $2.18 for the best case scenario for the bullish trend continuing with the reversal to come in and take out these targets in the meantime would be your best buy as well at the minute for the sort of 218. But really, since we're in the upward trend, the trend is your friend, then we can hope to rely on that to take us towards these other targets that we've already spoken about: $2.80, $3.09, $3.50, $3.73, $4.10. Downside targets $4.50 if we need to, $3.33 all the threes, or $2.33 all the $2.33 is important, but we're really looking down towards 218 thereafter. I don't want to actually trade towards either of these targets in the meantime, but if from a broad term perspective, if we want to maintain the upward trend, 185. That's your entire technical analysis. There's plenty of other stuff that I could talk about if you want to come back and ask me to do it sometime. Ask me to tell you how positive the stochastics looks here, which is fantastic. Ask me to tell you how positive the DMI looks here, which is fantastic. Ask me to tell you about the potential for this being bearish divergence here in at this high on the RSI, which is of course slight taking the shine off of things, and of course the same scenario appearing here on the DM on the MACD. But you could also maybe ask me to describe the hidden bullish divergence that exists at this point, with the potential for us to then take us through and carry on and do that story that I already described. I didn't describe all that to you because I described it using the price action alone, but of course all these details were more or less known to me as I was doing that. Okay, cool. So like button, great. That helps a lot. Subscribe, great. That helps you a lot because there's good quality information out here all the time. And sharing it, well, that's just a really nice thing to do if you want to be a nice guy. If you want to support the channel, patreon.com/rocky.outcrop. But of course, like button alone is really, really, really a great start on that one. Smash the black. Okay, cool. Did I just assume your gender? Maybe I did. Sorry about that. You are genderless to me, though. Don't worry about it. Right. What was the other crap coin I wanted to get out of the way? NIMQ. Did you like how I was saying that I'd done all the stuff in advance, but I didn't really? NIMQ USDT Tether. Right. Okay. Cool. Interesting one here. Oh, right. 24-hour time frame. Okay. Let's draw this in here. think that's a key inflection point for us. Probably could probably get a better one, but this is the most likely to satisfy my story. Okay, cool, nice one. Hi friends, let's take a look at NIM, N-I-M, NIMQ versus the US dollar. Or NIMIC or something like that. NIMIC, yeah. Thanks so much for joining. My name's Rocky Outcrop. This is, of course, technical analysis, and you have arrived in the right place. This is the best place on YouTube. A like and a subscribe go a long way. We're YouTube's best kept hidden secret at the minute. What I'm looking at with regards to this coin on the 24-hour time frame is, can the 8-period exponential moving average, this yellow line, cross over this 18-period green line here and bring us in for a bearish movement where we could then look towards lower downside targets, giving us a shorting opportunity? Or indeed, are we looking for this to continue up the way? Well, the first protocol for us will be, of course, to continue doing as we're doing right this very minute by breaking up above that 8-period moving exponential average and actually push it towards the top side. But there's a few other things I really wanted to express for us in the meantime. If we don't do that, that lines up perfectly with where the 50 simple period moving average is here, and then that's where you get that downward trend scenario coming in. Your downside target actually lines up over there at the 200 period moving average, the simple period moving average, and that would be an ideal zone to look to for us. In fact, by the way, when I say zone, what I really do mean would be anywhere in that kind of range just there would be what we'd be looking at. It extends down as far as 90, 0.009, by the way, on that front. That's where we'd be looking to. Why is that? Well, in terms of the most recent sort of inflection in the markets coming from our biggest turnaround zone of late in there on the 1st of February up to our highs in here on the 22nd of March, we can see that the 236 Fibonacci comes in here, all the ones, 0.0111111. And if we actually manage to break down below that level without taking out those moving averages up above, then the story becomes quite negative. And there's a couple of reasons for that. For instance, the divergence that we can see here on the DMI, as the DMI is giving us a slightly different sort of appraisal of things to the other oscillators, giving us a good reason today to bring this into focus perhaps more closely than other oscillators. You can see that we've had this turnaround in the ADX, the downward sloping highs here showing us that divergence, the congruence here between the DM positive and negative, while that's sloping towards the downside, all of that showing us that there's that potential for negative. Now, it wouldn't necessarily start a negative trend off overall, kind of reversing the bullish macro trend. No, just simply in terms of consolidating down the way, as the stochastics are kind of giving us the impression they might be want to do as well. Whereas the other oscillators, the RSI and the MACD, showing us that we're still in line for nice upward movement, so long as we kind of ignore the divergence which appears in the RSI from back there at the turn of the year at the start of January up to where we got for our highs. You know, 24-hour time frame gives us a few different kind of aspects on that one. Overall, fairly bullish. By the way, you might be interested if you use the Rocky Outcrop DMI indicator to give this area over here a quick test. Maybe it's a good example of it. Yep, okay, so the party stopped around about that zone. Then in terms of the white background, came back down here, touched off the way, and yet another fulfillment of that in the past. That's interesting to see. Always like to audit those when I get the chance to do so. If you want to have access to that indicator for free, go ahead and get it. gumroad.com/rockyoutcrop, or of course drop me a donation for it. All of that's massively appreciated. If you'd like to support the channel, it is really appreciated that people that do that, paying it forward so we keep making this content for the future. Then join me at Patreon, patreon.com/rockyoutcrop. 4-hour time frame here showing us that we do have that downward sloping mass of moving averages, but we have recaptured that 236 overall in terms of the last few times that we've pushed down past it. I am looking for this to turn positive, if you know, because I think that the momentum would kick in there and give us that chance to express this previous downward movement here as being hidden bullish divergence of a sort. Then, you know, maybe that could be like an upside for us. Not hidden bullish divergence. Sorry, not hidden bullish divergence of a sort. Sorry, what am I saying there? My brain farted. Just bullish divergence, right? So that's what we're looking for. And if you know, and that would be cool to see, right? That's the short-term technical analysis on this one. In terms of looking at this in the sort of the micro, then let's not do that because you'll not be watching this episode right away. Yeah, that's cool. This is the NIMQ price action. So then where we've got for the highs, if we actually manage to push up the way with the momentum, and over the next few days, if we come into a point where we're actually coming in and challenging that 0.015 cents region, where's our next high is going to be at? And in fact, I'm going to show you that right now with the Fibonacci extension point, looking between the high and low over here and drawing our attention to these three targets up above. $1, sorry, this is $1. Wow, nice, huh? Drop like if you want to see $1. Anyway, 0.01, 1 cents, 1.7 cents, 1.8 cents, and then 1.96. I think this 1.96 target is going to be crucial for us. I expect to see profit taking happening just shy of the 2 cents before a potential turnaround for a retracement at that point. Perhaps expecting, perhaps then to come in here and try in it around about the 15, the 0.015 area again thereafter, if we're going to look at this from a broader perspective. That's my current hope. It all kind of continges on the lower term time frames, namely, taking out that 50 simple period moving average here in the 4 hour, and then finding any support and resistance we need to thereafter to help sustain us up the way. Thanks so much for joining me. Dropping a like and a subscribe, like I say, really big help. All those options for supporting the channel are out there, and join me for a live stream. By the way, if you look right now, you can see this is actually during a live stream. I'm going to catch up with these comments in just a second. Thanks, Rocky, says Phil, for example. So that's quality. That's quality. Great. Smash to black. So, hey Trey, good to see you. Hello, fellow outcropticians. I've been out of commission for the last few days, had surgery, and I've been out of the loop, but I'm getting back. Hope everyone's doing well. Oh, wow. Hope you recover, Trey. It's great to see you, my buddy. Let me know as well when you want to do the video call at some point. If you have done and I've missed that somehow, then all apologies. Of course, if you haven't done quite yet, that's totally understandable with your surgery, etc. So keep up the good stuff, my friend. It's good to see you here, and stay healthy. That's what we're looking for. So what was the other coins I was going to do here? Somebody suggested to me that I take a look at SXP. I quite dislike Swipe, to be honest with you. But then just like PundiX, Binance stepped in, helped them out, sorted them out quite a bit. So we'll see how this goes with it. Obviously, we've stayed within the ranges that we talked about. Fairly nice. Swipe. Hi friends, swipe SXP to the USD. Let's take a look at the chart and see if there's anything interesting to be learned about it. We could be on the cusp of a big move towards the top side. That is going to be super interesting, and I'm looking forward to telling you about it. But we could also be just about to drop down the way a whole bunch, and I've got a good reason for that as well. Join me for all that and more just after these intro clips. Hey, well, I say clip, but it's just the one, and I'm going to talk through it anyway, telling you a like and a subscribe goes a long way. I really do appreciate it. Did you notice below me a minute ago there's a chat box full of text? That's because this is filmed during a live episode. Be sure to join me for one of them. So what do you want first, the good news or the bad news? The good news or the bad news? Let's go for the bad news first. Bad news first, right? Cool. Okay, so we've got this upward trend. We had a crossover here between the 50 simple moving average and the 200. It didn't come to anything. We moved towards the top side. Very, very good. Came in, retested it, and the 200. Very good. Came in, retested it, and the 200. Very good. Came in, retested the 50 yet again today. In fact, on this one, is it very good anymore or not? And that's where the bad news comes into play. If I bring up the tool that I perhaps like using the very least of all on TradingView and try and draw in one of these head and shoulders things, it never works out perfectly for me first time. As you can see there, it hasn't worked out perfectly again. It's frustrating, there's the right side, there's the left side. We could be looking at head and shoulders over here. What your measured move would be off the back of this one would be extensive, taking you all the way down towards $1.10. Did you like the way that snapped out there like a bouquet of flowers out of magician's wrist? That's because I got it on the logarithmic chart. Now, if that fails and we move towards the top side, very good. You don't take measured moves like that, but we could be looking up towards $5 and something. Is there another reason for that? You might be asking right now. Well, yes, there is. Let's just cover this fully, completely. First off, there is the potential for it. It's written across the charts there and the oscillators. It's also here in terms of the DMI. We're seeing that we're coming right in for a cross here, negative cross between these two. While there's still enough strength of trend left there to give you that movement, that's all in the cards, happening between the three most key inflection points in the market overall there at 352 264 and down towards 189. So that's your bad news for you. If that were to happen, what would it look like? Let's just see here as well. Previous instance of the DMI indicator working for us perfectly. Yeah, again, bang, perfect with that inflection in the background. What about this one here? Was it perfect? Oh wow, bang, yes it was indeed. Now if we see something like this happen where the strength of trend drops off, lows as we're coming into towards this area, that would be ideal, but we'll not get too ahead of ourselves. The stochastics point towards the downside. None of that looking very, very good, okay? Blah, horrible. Right, wash our hands of that and move on. Let's see, have we got any of that good news for us? And we actually do. There's a good bullish trend here for us. I'll just leave that drawing on there so you can be reminded of it, I suppose, from time to time throughout the episode. What we can see as well in the past, you know, shoulder, head, shoulder potential, neckline respected, key inflection point moved on up. Here we have it, neckline respected. So my best buy price for this is actually coming in still at 260, although that's where it was previously as well. Anyway, for a bullish move, 260, that's where you should have been getting in at. This is where you still potentially could get in at, managing your risk accordingly. Very much aware of that 118 target if we do come down to it. 180 as well, a big one on the way. But what we can see here is if we actually look between our previous high and low inflection point that we've had subsequently, you know, come up here and tested 100% retrace down the way as our shoulder came in, put in the head, down the way up towards the 100% retrace area again. Fantastic, right where the right shoulder is, showing you that with the failure of this pattern, if we move on past this zone towards the top side, we could be coming in for that 1.272, 1414, 1618 target. And what they are is, of course, 434, 467, and $5.59. So that takes you into the $5 area. If we want to then, you know, kind of think about this in terms of could we get to the mid 550s? Yeah, there's routes towards that zone, but that's your good news for you. You know, we're right there looking at it 66% of the time or something along those lines, 64, 60, something like that. Look up the pattern site Bulkowski's textbook. He'll tell you head and shoulders fail anyway. This, of course, is a symptom of being in an upward trend, and that would be where we'd be taking you to. That's their swipe technical analysis, all the good, all the bad, and then, of course, targets, price action, targets towards the top side and the downside, and your risk management zones, everything, a nice, neat little package, and I didn't even have to waste your time with too much chat about funny different stuff in the charts. Wow, what a fantastic, neat packaged episode. That's what I'm saying. A like goes a long way. If you did like anything, get any value from it, I would really appreciate it. Of course, subscribe for more of these episodes. Share them with your friends. A friend of yours is very much a friend of mine. Massively appreciate folk that do that. Patreon.com/rocky.outcrop if you want to pay it forward. Yada, yada, yada. But anyway, smash to black. Right, cool. Yes, I haven't. Another of us has been in the hospital as well. Bad timing. Oh my goodness. My goodness. Sorry. I'll send you some positive vibes, buddy. I'll keep you in my thoughts. I hope you are all doing well over there. That's really awful, but I'm glad to see that you've come out the other side of it now. Hopefully you all do. And you know, all of this, I mean, the silver linings, right? If you're going to have anything like this happen, let it happen now so you get to enjoy the summer. You know, we're both, for everybody else's information, we're both Northern Hemisphere people. So, like, at least let it, you know, you got a good chance to sort of get your convalescence and still get fit and healthy and everything else before the end of summer. That's important. In my experience, going into hospital and having operations towards the end of summer, then and looking to try and recover is a nightmare. I mean, they tell you to walk around the place, and they've got ice, black ice outside in the streets. If you fall over, you know, it's not very motivational. Whereas getting outside in the summer, and that could be good, right? Was there anything else that I wanted to do here? I was going to maybe take a look at EOS just to see, because it might get the meme value, but then again, EOS, not meme value, but the sort of the thingies. There's Secret Network. I think that's something that's quite interesting. Sologenic as well. Maybe I'll combine them together. I don't know. Let's take a quick look at Solo. I've never looked at Solo, I don't think. So we'll see if we can get a quick chart up on this one. Super mental. So we'll skip that one. Secret is SCRT USD. What options are there? So it's only an Ethereum or Bitcoin traded pair. Interesting. Nice move today. Is it enough? Possibly. Close call. I mean, it's just about enough of a move. The retracement back down the way is not ideal, but this is when you see one of these long wicks where it could potentially be that way. Nah, I'm not going to. Nah, I'll skip it as well. I'll skip it as well. I'll skip it as well. Pretty interesting chart though. It's not the same as all the other ones. It's an interesting chart, but that's partly the function of looking at it versus Ethereum. We will, buddy. We are making it. Just trying to get our feet underneath. A few more days. Thanks, buddy. That's no problem. No problem. Thoughts are with you. Eat healthy, by the way. Good stuff. Good tip. Good tip. There we go. Eat healthy, get a good sleep. There you go. That's all. That's it. It's the one tip you didn't want to hear, but if your mum's not telling it to you, then I'll do it to you. Eat your vegetables. Eat your vegetables. Let nature be thy medicine. Eat your vegetables. And by vegetables, I don't mean chicken wings. I mean vegetables. Right, are we done? How long has the stream been going for? Let me just try and see if I can check that. I don't know where I've hidden my YouTube tab. Woo, shaking around my background is not going to help. Oh, my alarm's going off in the background. Give me a second. Stop! I think that worked. Nice, it worked. Right. Yeah. Do we want to do any more? I'm not too sure. I think I'll keep it short and sweet. I've done a couple of extra bonus coins today. That's going to do for us. Everybody's dead happy. I'm sure in the chat they got their questions answered. Don't know how many people are tuned into this live. Let's go check it together for a second. 7 watching. Wow, fantastic. 11 likes. Not bad. Well, if anybody ever wants to share it, then that'd be cool. That'd be cool. Nobody's interested in the Bitcoin PayPal story, obviously, as well. Wow, I got like 10 viewers for this live video. Amazing. Amazing. Cool. So I'll just share that myself. It's not hard to share stuff on Twitter, by the way, folks. It does help the channel, etc. All that good stuff. Right. Cool. Nice one. Okay. Thanks to the TA today, Rocky. You legend. No problem, Zoner. You know that I'm not. I do this because people will turn up. They will see it. They will get some value out of it. I know they will. And then, of course, you know, they get a lot of good value. I hope. I'm always here for feedback, by the way. So I hope you get a lot of good value of it. Then, of course, your lives get better and better and better. And I'm putting out some goodness into the world. And that, well, putting good stuff into the world is the way to do it. Glenn Dickinson says, "Hey Rocky, hey Glenn, good to have you here. If you're here for the first time, hit that subscribe button. Don't know if I know you. If I do know you and we've interacted before, let me know. Willis O'Neill as well, by the way. I have interacted with Willis O'Neill a few times in the past as well. So yeah, reverse roll call. Real quick, I suppose. I'll bring up the final scene. In fact, where is it? Final scene. Where's final scene? Final scene. There we go. See you, Kirk. See you guys. and Winter Fresh. Yay! You stayed for most of the time. That's so great. You're welcome, Winter Fresh. Yeah, I seriously appreciate every single last one of you. If you want to help support the channel, you can do at the Patreon. You all know it. That's all good. Lots of you have already, of course, and all that good stuff. So keep it up. And yeah, so reverse roll call time. Glenn Dickinson, he is a second timer. That's cool. We'll come back again, Glenn, and join us for more of this. I hope today you've all enjoyed it. Not had a word from anybody about the audio quality. Let me know right here now if you are still watching. You haven't gone away. What you think of the audio quality? It's just it's my face isn't on screen distracting you with with my glamorous good looks, I suppose. So maybe you can hear my voice for the first time today. Is the audio quality on point? I don't think it can get any better. It should be the best it could possibly be. Like it should be as good as anything that's out there in the world at all, anywhere. If it isn't, then I don't know how to do any better. Because I tried. I got a new mic and everything. Right. So, yeah. Glenn, Phil, thanks for joining me. Winterfresh, Zoner, thanks for joining me. Trey and Willis, thanks for joining me. Crypto Planet, Peter, thank you so much for joining me. Kevin King and Dude Man, thanks so much for joining me. And that is it. That's it. That's the full library of everybody who is is here. Yeah, it's all well on your end. Great. Thanks, Trey. Glenn Dickinson, I'll be back. Thanks, Rocky. You're welcome, Glenn. Share the video with a friend sometime as well. I'll be making a few snippet videos for from this for the folk back home, as I like to say, as well. So there'll be something for them to. Oh, thanks, Phil. That's good. Excellent stuff. Right. Well, I'll catch you all later. It's been a pleasure. I've really appreciated it. And next time I come back, I will do a shorter stream. Today's one's lasted for much longer than I thought it would, an hour and a half, etc. I'm going to be coming. In future, I'll be trying to make the streams the sort of thing that people might be more enticed to watch. You know, if they see streamed live 6 hours ago, but the video lasts for 39 minutes, they might get the impression it's worth watching. I don't know. I'm always trying here to get better results on YouTube. Yeah, as you can see, I try a variety of things, tried thumbnail, different stuff, and I stick at it for a long enough time to test it properly. I've tried description stuff, I've tried tag stuff. None of it works. It's crazy. Everybody that tunes in and comments has got positive stuff. The only time I've had a grand total of like 20 negative comments in the entire time I've done YouTube, and about 16 of those have come from the crypto face video. So so I think that says more about the crypto face audience than it does about me and mine. So I really don't know. Really don't know what it is that sort of I don't know, but it's all good because here we are and we're having a great time together anyway. I always do, right? And I did again today. Really appreciate you all. Great stuff. Nice to have you here. I'll see you again when I'm back next time, which will be, of course, on Friday. Although I could maybe